Welcome back. All right, so 5 games in the books tonight. We have a busy day tomorrow of 11 games, so I will be doing the preview for tomorrow's games tonight after I get the review for these games done. So, Friday night, what more exciting thing could there be to do on Friday night other than watch hockey games? I remember a time when there were more exciting things to do. I'm just too old at this point. Too old, and it's just, yeah. Everybody else, you guys can have fun. I'll be home watching hockey. Starting off with Boston and Buffalo. This is what happens when you don't work as hard as the other team. And I think that's a big part of it. Rask then had a not great game. Halak then decided to get an assist on a Buffalo goal as well. And yeah, again, I feel like Buffalo wanted it more through 40 minutes and just put Boston in a hole they couldn't dig their way out of. So it was Luukkonen versus Rask. Luukkonen's first NHL start. No Patrice Bergeron. And I know there will be those who go, well, see, that's what happened. Boston didn't have Bergeron. I would be perfectly fine with that, if not for the fact that over the last 2 years, prior to this one, when Bergeron's not in the lineup, Boston's record's been pretty good. So that's usually when Krejci steps up and other guys step up on the roster. And yeah, their record without Bergeron has been pretty solid throughout the years. So hopefully he's not out for too long. We don't know. It looks like it's day to day. We'll find out. Kampfer scores from Hall and Rask at 2:15. First shot. So for Luukkonen, it had to be kind of a... Well, he did look shaky in that first period. He did. There were points where he looked kind of shaky. Even on their second shot attempt, I thought he looked kind of shaky and out of position. So, understandable. A rookie, his first game, they're going, so, first team you get is the Boston Bruins. Really? Really? Have we beaten them this year? No. Not at all. No. Sabres then try to answer. There was a press by the Sabres at 6 minutes. Rask denied Asplund. The Bruins were stuck on one shot until 9 minutes and 54 seconds when Taylor Hall gets the second. And Luukkonen made the save on that. Rask had been sharp. The Sabres then get a power play. They were 2 for their last 24 coming into tonight's action. That number has gotten better. First, it's Reinhart from Dahlin and Olofsson at 15 minutes and 40 seconds. And I say first because they'd score on the power play again later. Pasternak then had a break. He hits the outside of the post. Krejci hit a post as well. There's a power play for the Bruins. It's unsuccessful. We go to the second period. Buffalo doubling Boston in shots in the first, but it's a tie game. Better start for the Bruins in the second. Luukkonen stopped a shot from Hall, and he looked like he had settled down. That he had his game together, and whatever nerves he might have had at the start disappeared quickly. Rask was sharp on a shot from Ristolainen with some traffic. Skinner then fired one wide, but Dahlin, who has picked it up over the last few weeks as well, he scores from Sheahan and Reeder at 6:54. The Sabres then get a power play. That led to a shorthanded chance for Marchand that was broken up before he gets to the net. Power play ends, and then it's Casey Middlestad who stays hot from Thompson and Samuelsson at 14:17. That is Samuelsson's first NHL point, a secondary assist, the first of a couple he'd have tonight. We then get some 4-on-4 play. You get a last-minute chance for Joki Harju. It's 3-1 Buffalo coming out of the second period. Early in the third, Ruotsalainen, who's been impressive, scores from Cousins and Samuelsson at 1:14. See, that's all you need to do in Buffalo. Get a whole bunch of new guys. Just everybody out on the ice that doesn't realize, all right, we're Buffalo. They just don't know, so don't tell them. Great game by the Sabres at that point. They're up 4-1. Luukkonen very sound, good positioning at that point. Wagner had a shot on a turnover. That was stopped. The Sabres then get a power play, and here's where Halak, who had taken over from Rask, he ends up giving the puck to Sam Reinhart, which is an odd strategy. And at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, it is 5-1 in favor of the Buffalo Sabres. But this is a Buffalo Sabres team that came into tonight with 12 wins on the season. So nothing can be taken for granted. And Ritchie would score from Kampfer and DeBrusk at 12:06 to make it 5-2. No reason to worry. However, Kevin Miller scores his first of the year from Kampfer and Corrali at 15:23. So Stephen Kampfer with a goal and 2 assists tonight. Who saw that coming? So they pull the goalie with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left, and they score. Now, it's Taylor Hall who scores from McAvoy and Krejci at 17:12. I'm honestly a little bit surprised they gave assists on this one, since it's an own goal by Ristolainen. Ristolainen shot it in his own net. Not on purpose, of course, but he did. and that made it 5-4. So cue the nervousness, right? The Sabres then had a 3-on-1 that misfired. And then we get the goalie pull again. And then with 42 seconds left, Reinhart hits the empty net. That's his 4th career hat trick. Buffalo wins 6-4. They do hold on. They go to 13, 28, and 7 with the win. Boston drops to 27, 13, and 6. They lose out on an opportunity to gain ground on teams in front of them. And again, as I've been saying, those games in hand, they're great. You have to win them. If you don't win the games in hand, they don't mean a whole lot. So there you go. Shots in this one, 10-5 Buffalo in the first, 16-13 Buffalo in the second, 22-8 Boston in the third. Yeah, Boston really woke up in the third. Final shots, 40-34 for Boston. Power plays, Boston 0 for 1, Buffalo 2 for 3. Halak saves 24 out of 28. Rask saves 24 out of 28. Halak saved 4 out of 5. And Luukkonen saves 36 out of 40. So he allowed 4 goals, but he still ends up with a .900 save percentage. Not too shabby for his first NHL game. And there's another team that's gone 4 deep when it comes to which goaltenders are playing on any given night. All right, moving along. Philly, back-to-back wins, elusive, which is part of the reason that they're in the situation they're in. And for the Rangers, desperate hockey. Desperate hockey. And good news for them in that Boston loses the game to Buffalo. And tonight the Rangers come out on the good end of this. So they have enough points. They are still within shouting distance of a playoff spot. It is shouting distance, but they're still there. Lyon versus Georgiev in this one. Rangers get a power play. They would score on it. Kreider with the power play marker is 20th of the season. From Panarin and Fox at 6:02. Yes, Adam Fox continues the amazing run he's been on scoring-wise. That lead doesn't last. Lindblom scores from Voracek at 6:47, but it went off Hayek's stick and in, or Hayek's skate, I should say, and in. So that ties it up at 1. It doesn't stay tied for very long. Buchnevich scores from Zibanejad and Lafreniere at 7:56. Don't look now. Alexis Lafreniere has been much better over the last, I'll say, 3 weeks, and the scoring it reflects that. The Rangers then press for another. Voracek had a fast break, ends up with a near miss. An extended run without a whistle in the second half of that period. We get a delay of game, which leads to a Rangers power play. The funny thing is, the way that it looked on TV was that Provorov threw it over the glass. And again, I know he was, but to me it looked like he wasn't even told to go to the box. He just went on his own. Just, all right. Yeah, no, nobody needs to tell me. It's my penalty. And then good penalty kill by the Flyers. The Rangers had no shots in the last 11 minutes and 37 seconds of that first period. So for a game that Philly ends up coming out on the short end of the stick in this one, they defended very well in that first period, but they were still down 2-1. Second period, early chance for Provorov. The Rangers misfired on a chance of their own. The Flyers get a fast break. That fizzles out. Cates had a shot that was blocked. That deflects out. So Cates, playing for the Flyers tonight, had some opportunities out there. Couturier with the tip. Georgiev makes the save on that. And then Rooney and Lawton had a fight. And so that was interesting. And the other thing that was interesting too is that I think it was Georgiev who kept tapping his post with his stick. So you're listening to the audio, and what was throwing the guys off, the feed that I was watching was the Philly feed, which of course is the road. They weren't in the building. So they kept hearing this off the post. It sounded like shots were hitting the post. So throughout the whole game, and I think it was Georgiev that was hitting the post, and you know, just sort of one of those things goalies do, but there's a microphone right there. So it sounded like pucks kept hitting posts when it was at center ice. It was really weird. So that happened. The Flyers end up getting a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 22 seconds. So in and amongst all this, they get a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 22. They had chances, furious amount of chances, but it was a no. The whole thing is killed off. In fact, when Hedl, the first one that took the penalty, comes out of the box, he gets a break. Lyon makes the denial on that. The Rangers would survive the 5-on-4 as well. In last moments of this, Kakko had a chance that was stopped. Kakko, as well, has started picking up his play recently. Third period, JVR has a chance to stop. The Flyers were the better team in the first 5 minutes, and the Flyers controlled large portions of this game. But Lafreniere would score from Buchnevich and Zibanejad at 9:24. So very, very decent game for Lafreniere with the goal and the assist tonight. And then there's a goal line stand by Georgiev. Haig missed a chance wide, and then Braun scores, but immediately it's waved off due to goalie interference, and the Flyers didn't challenge that. They might have been able to challenge it. I don't think it gets overturned. Panarin then fired one wide, but Hedl would hit the net from Kakko and Panarin at 13 minutes and 40 seconds. That makes it 4-1, and that's your final score. The Rangers go to 24-18-6. The Flyers drop to 21-19-7. The shots in this one, 7-6 Philly in the first, 10-9 Rangers in the second, 11-8 Philly in the third. Flyers actually outshoot them 27-24. Power plays, Philly 0 for 2, Rangers 1 for 2. Lyon with 20 saves on 24 shots. Georgiev, 26 saves on 27 shots. Pretty good game for the Rangers. And again, they're still in it. Not saying they're going to get into the playoffs, but they're still in it. They need Boston to cool off a bit. And we'll see how that goes. Next up, Nashville. So Nashville takes that loss against Chicago the other night. Of course, it's a 3-point game. Wasn't happening tonight. Nashville, seemingly understanding what's on the line here, came out and played a pretty strong game. And you see Saros with a huge game tonight as well. Early chances for the Predators. They had a 2-on-1. Sissons couldn't bury it during that 2-on-1. Harper gets shaken up. He stayed in. It was a shot block that left him kind of hobbled for a bit there. Arvidsson had some shots that were being blocked as well. I thought Arvidsson had a good game. He doesn't get on the board tonight, but he did. He had a good game. Power play then for the Hawks. That was a no. We get an extended run of no shots and all defense. It was like about 6 minutes of that period where there weren't any shots for either team. Not a lot of whistles either, but a lot of shot blocking, a lot of keeping to the outside. Both teams doing that quite well at that point in the period. Saros then stops a chance from DeBrincat, and in the last minute, Suter had a chance. Again, Saros makes the save. Second period, early post, great chances for Suter. P.S. Suter, lots of opportunities. He doesn't get on the board tonight, but he did have those opportunities. And then it's Johansson scoring from Ellis and Tolvanen at 6:33. Boy, it would sure be nice for Nashville if Johansson were to start scoring. I will say that when I did a Seattle mock expansion draft earlier today, I didn't protect Johansson or Duchesne. I was like, you know what? Nope. I think I can get a pretty decent protected list for Nashville, and I don't think those guys would get picked up by Seattle with those contracts and that production. Then there was a scrum at the Preds net afterwards. The Hawks were trying to answer. Some good back and forth play after that goal. Kalanick then got a chance. He got a few chances, actually, and they were saved by Saros. Predators get a power play. Late in the power play, Subban making some key saves. However, Cunnin would score from Granlund and Yarncroke at 16:24. The Hawks then had some chances in the final moments, but we come out of that second period, scores 2-0 in favor of Nashville. Third period, offside foiled Hagel. Brandon Hagel with a really nice play, but ends up offside. Connolly then got a good chance, couldn't put that in the net. Strong first 5 minutes for Chicago. Things get kind of scrummy after that. These teams are tired of each other. It's their final meeting. Doc then had a chance. Some good desperate hockey from Chicago. Just Saros was really good in this. Arvidsson in alone. Subban made the save on that. Predators were doing a good job at this stage. Again, like in the first, of keeping the Hawks to the outside. Duchesne, on a play for himself there, he actually draws a power play for Nashville. Then there was a shorthanded chance for Hinostroza. That power play would be killed off by Chicago. And then it's Howla from Ellis and Cousins at 16:05. And I don't know how to put this other than it's a bad angle goal. He bounces it in off the goaltender. It's one of those ones that you look at on the replay and you're thinking, well, Subban probably should have had that. But, Howla bounced it in off of him. It was kind of a nice goal by Howla as well. That makes it 3-0. They pull the goalie with 3.5 minutes left. Ekholm stopped one on the goal line. I believe it was Hinostroza had his hands up because he believed it was going in, and Ekholm stops it on the goal line. It got past Saros, not past Ekholm. However, Kalanick breaks the shutout at 16:41, makes it 3-1. They would pull the goaltender again. Patrick Kane would hit the post. That's as close to a goal as they would get. Your final score is 3-1 for Nashville. Nashville 26-21-2. Chicago 22-21-5. The shots in this one, 11-8 Chicago in the first, 13-12 Chicago in the second, 8-6 Nashville in the third. Final shots, 30-28 for Chicago. Nashville 0 for 2 on the power play. Chicago 0 for 1. Saros 29 saves on 30 shots. Subban 25 saves on 28 shots. And so for Nashville, I know Dallas has those games in hand. I know that the odds are Dallas probably gets that last playoff spot. I wouldn't rule out Nashville. I really wouldn't rule out Nashville. And I think it would be more fair if it was Nashville who got the spot, just for reasons I've talked about in other videos before. But we'll see how it turns out. Tonight, they come out on the right side of things, and we'll see how it goes from here. Now, I have to change boards. So, I know I'm going to talk about the Montreal-Calgary game. Why can't Minnesota outshoot anybody? Ever. It just never happens. And the weird thing is they have a really good record when they get outshot, but they just never outshoot the other team. It's bizarre. All right, Montreal and Calgary first, however. So for Montreal, it's pretty simple. You just want to go into Calgary. You want to get points. It doesn't matter if it's extra points in overtime. It doesn't matter if it's the 2-point wins. Just get points. Keep your separation between yourself and Calgary. You've got games in hand. You're good, and you're trying to gain more points on Vancouver. And then for Vancouver fans, well, tonight's kind of a can they both get no points kind of situation, because Calgary's the team that they're directly competing with for a spot, and Montreal's the team they're trying to catch for the playoffs. But if Calgary gets hot, they're trying to catch both. So yeah, it's really kind of a catch-22. Early breaks for both teams in this one. It was a pretty fast game out of the gate. The Habs would press at 4 minutes. The Flames cleared out. The shots were 3-2 for the Habs at 5 minutes. At 6:06, the Flames opened the scoring. Dubé scores from Mangiapane and Ryan. Mangiapane in big games. He's a keeper. So that's 1-0 in favor of Calgary. Tkachuk then had a chance that was deflected away. Allen really sharp early on, and then Montreal rewards him with some goal support. It's Toffoli at 13 minutes and 19 seconds. And then towards the end of that period, Armia scores from Danault at 18:24. So it's 2-1. But the Flames would get a power play pretty shortly after that, and they score. It's Mangiapane with the power play marker from Hanifin and Monahan at 19:24, exactly a minute in between. And then off that face-off, in that last minute, then the Flames were pressing for the lead. So we go to the second period. Early power play for Montreal, that was a no. And that's the only power play Montreal had in the game. The Flames then get a 3-on-2. Allen makes the save. Habs not able to get to the net very much in that second period. Calgary boxing them out, playing, if you want to call it a trap, you can do that. But it was really good defensive hockey by Calgary tonight. Shots were 5-3 for the Habs at 9 minutes. But again, I don't know how many of those were really prime opportunities. Ryan had a chance that was stopped. The Flames scored. It's challenged as goalie interference. It was pretty obvious right away that it was goalie interference. And so the goal's taken down. Lindholm would fire one wide before the end of the second period, but we come out of the second the same as we went into it. The score's tied at 2. Third period. Short shifts. Neither team wanting to make a mistake, knowing they're playing again tomorrow. 3 games in 4 days. Keep your guys, make sure they've got their oxygen, that they're still able to play tomorrow. You don't want to overwork somebody tonight, right? Flames would press at 4.5 minutes, and then it's Monahan from Gaudreau and Nordstrom at 5:58. Now on that play, I believe it was Josh Anderson that was upset because he felt he got elbowed by Nordstrom and that there should have been a penalty. But Monahan ends up getting it. It's a nice bang-bang play with Gaudreau to Monahan, who are on different lines for most of the season. But that reminds you why when they're together, sometimes it's pretty good. I remember the Gatorade. I remember Monahan, Gaudreau, and Lindholm a couple of years ago being probably one of the top 5 lines in the entire National Hockey League. We then get a turnover to Tkachuk. That was kicked out by Markstrom. You don't turn it over to Tkachuk. Habs had chances at 9 minutes. Suzuki would hit the post. The shots were 8-5 for the Flames with 6 minutes left, which I think, again, tells you the story of how well they were defending against Montreal. And it's not like Montreal got a lot of shots after that. They pull the goalie with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. What ends up happening is you get an empty net goal. Sorry, I wrote power play goal. It's an empty net goal. It's Elias Lindholm at 19:52. That makes it 4-2 for Calgary. They go to 20, 23-3. Montreal 20, 16-9. Keep this in mind. As much as it's important that Montreal's 6 points ahead, Montreal's won 20 out of 45 games. Calgary's won 20 out of 46 games. The difference between these two teams is not as great as the 6 points might make it sound. And if Calgary's willing to work like this for the other games in this series between them, they can really get back into this race. But they're going to need to make sure they sweep it. and they can't let Montreal get a point. So the shots tonight, 13-7 Calgary in the first, 8-5 Calgary in the second, 10-7 Calgary in the third. Final shots, 31-19 for the Flames. Power plays, Montreal 0-for-1, Calgary 1-for-1. Allen saved 27 out of 30. Markstrom saved 17 out of 19. So pretty good game for Markstrom. The 17 out of 19 doesn't necessarily tell you that, but he did. He had a pretty good game. So pretty big saves late in that game. All right, next up, Minnesota. So again, you know, just looking at these shot totals and seeing how this game unfolded and realizing they're relying a lot on their goalies. A lot. So it's Talbot versus Peterson. And it was really kind of a goaltending battle. A 4-2 doesn't necessarily tell you that, but there was some really good goaltending at both ends. Kings were getting kind of physical on Kaprizov early. And it's funny, this was a great game for Kaprizov. And watching this, all I kept thinking was, he's going to win the Calder and people are going to get mad. And yeah. So the Wild press at 4.5 minutes. The Kings would clear it out. Johansson ends up hitting the post. And then who scores a goal? Right, Kaprizov. From Spurgeon at 7:44. The Kings get their first power play after that. That was a no. Then there's a post for Doughty, but with 1 second left. In fact, it was 0.8 seconds left. Trevor Moore stays hot. He scores from Velarde and Walker. Velarde, nice pass from behind the net. Wayne Gretzky's office there. And Moore puts it home. It's 1-1. So they kind of steal one at the end of the period. LA did outplay Minnesota in that first period, so at least the score was tied. We go to the second. Strong start for the Kings. The Wild would press. Brodin fires one wide. It went wide of the net, and it also hit Foligno in the shoulder. So I'm sure Marcus Foligno went over and told him, don't hit me in the shoulder with the puck. Power play then for the Wild, and they score on it. Remember when their power play sucked? I do. That was what, 6 weeks ago? That's ages ago now. Kaprizov on the power play from Rask and Fiala at 6:41. That's 21 goals for Kaprizov now on the season. The Kings would score, but right away it's waved off as Talbot being run over, and he was. And so, you know, guy falls into the goaltender. That's just, it's not a penalty on the play, but it's incidental contact. It's not a goal. Talbot then gloved one to kill a Kings push. Shortly after that, it was kind of nice. He kind of jumps over a player to grab it like, no, I'm done. Gotta get this puck away from my net. They pushed a lot in that period as well. Kings get a power play. Talbot said no, and that was after Peterson robbed Parise. Parise had a really good game, too. And even towards the end of the game, they showed Parise on the bench. Looks really happy and looks to be playing really well. He's in a good headspace right now. Pressed by the Kings after their power play ended. And in the last minute, Talbot making some game-saving saves. That's what he's been doing this year for Minnesota. Third period. Early press by the Wild. In fact, the first 5 minutes of that period, the Wild are in pretty darn complete control of it. Doughty fires one wide when the Kings did get it. Kaprizov then had a chance for the hat trick. That was saved. And then it's Nico Sturm, who stays red hot. He scores from Bonino and Soucy at 11 minutes and 19 seconds. And that gives Minnesota a 3-1 lead. And after that, or that was after some pretty strong pressure by that fourth line as well. And then after that, the Wild get a power play. So this is a chance to really finish it. It was a good power play. Victor Rask had a good chance. That missed high. And then the Kings go to the other end. They score. It's Kopitar on a wraparound goal from Doughty and Bjornfot at 15-17. And it went off of Spurgeon's stick and into the net. So for Kopitar, I believe that's goal number 11 on the season. And that makes things a little bit closer. Kings picked it up after that goal, too, with 2:23 left. With the goalie on the bench, they also draw a power play. So that makes it a 6-on-4 for the Kings. Talbot denied Iafallo chance, and then with 10 seconds left, 9.8 actually, Eriksson Ek hits the empty net from Suter, and that makes it a 4-2 game in favor of the Minnesota Wild. They go to 30-13-3. The Kings drop to 17-21-6. For shots, it's all LA through the first two periods. 11-6 in the first, 20-7 in the second. Both teams had 11 shots in the third. Final shots 42-24 in favor of the LA Kings. Power plays, Minnesota 1 for 2, LA 0 for 3. Talbot 40 saves on 42 shots. Peterson 20 saves on 23 shots at the other end. So Talbot earning every penny that the Wild are paying him this year. And with every passing game, Bill Guerin looks smarter for picking him up. So, all right, there you go. Let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And hey, I will talk to you again before the end of the night because I have a preview board here all set to go. And we'll talk about tomorrow's games as well. So I'll talk to you then.